Hello, and welcome to the Slumbering Sloth Book Nook, a podcast about all things books, publishing, and more. My name is Emma, and today my guest is Amy Buckle. Amy is a book blogger under the name Amy Buckle's Bookshelf and co-founder of the Book Blogger Hub. Now on with the show. Thank you for coming on the podcast today, Amy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So first things first, can you tell me about your current projects?
Well, I'm quite excited because my blog has recently had a kind of revamp and I redesigned it. So I'm really excited about that at the moment and just kind of pushing that forward. But my friend and I actually run a book club, or we used to run a book club called the Two Amy's Book Club, because she's also called Amy. But we've recently decided that because the book club wasn't doing so well, because it was online, I think people couldn't commit to it. We've basically now made it a kind of hub for book bloggers online. So it's called the Book Bloggers Hub. And we run the Twitter accounts and the Instagram accounts, and it's kind of just a space where we can support book bloggers, where we can share kind of ideas about blogging and kind of just support everybody who's either new to it or just kind of needs a bit of motivation, because I know blogging is definitely something that when you've got other people around you motivating you and telling you, that it's good and helping you with ideas and things, it's definitely a lot easier to do. So we're really excited about just helping other people and kind of supporting them, especially, like I said, if they're new to it. So actually, that's not really to do with my blog specifically. It's more to do with a different platform I have. But yeah, I'm definitely very excited about that.
That's great, because obviously it's all starting. Blogging is quite a big thing. So
hmm
how did you begin book blogging?
So I was at university. I went to the University of Reading, and I studied English literature and language. And actually, I kind of just started it because I liked reading, and I just wanted somewhere to tell other people what I thought about books. So I started a blog, and when I first started it, it was kind of how everybody first starts a blog. It's like one of those terrible WordPress ones. I don't know, actually, I think it was Blogger. It was terrible, whatever it was. But I was quite excited about just kind of rambling on there. And I think, like everybody, you kind of just get more and more into it, and you think, oh, I'm going to do a bookstagram that can go with that, or I'm going to redesign it and actually put some money into it and put some effort into it. And then 3, 4, 5 years later, I'm here, and I'm a lot more happy now with it than I was when I first started doing it. But yeah, I think it really did just stem from the fact that I just wanted a space to chat about books, and I'm just so happy it's become more than that.
Yeah. I'd definitely say that the Bookstagram and Instagram part are definitely crossing over more, would you say?
Definitely. I mean, Bookstagram is a much more, I think it's an easier platform, because, everybody has an Instagram account, and you don't have to be into books to be able to find somebody's Bookstagram or just enjoy their content. I think blogging is really great. It's really fun, but in terms of accessibility, and Instagram is such an easier place just to chat to people, really, and just to, talk about what's your favorite book, what books do you hate, what books do you want me to recommend you, that kind of thing. And that's what I love about Bookstagram. That yeah, it's just so much easier to chat to people about books, and really that's why I do everything I do, just because I want to talk to people about books.
Yeah, of course, because I said it's, the blogging kind of goes hand in hand with it. So you can kind of do a review and then do some nice pictures to kind of
hmm
link to your blog as well.
Yeah, well, exactly, exactly, and they all tie in so nicely together. I mean, when I do a book review, for example, I'm creating the content for the book review, but actually, I then just put it on the Bookstagram as well. So they all just tie in so nicely, and like I say, go hand in hand. It really do work perfectly together.
Yeah, of course. So, kind of like with your degree, did you find that
hmm
doing a blog kind of helped you understand your course a little bit better as well?
I think blogging makes you, when you read, because a lot of the time, well, probably most of the time when I'm reading a book, I'm thinking about how can I blog about this. It makes you read slightly differently. So I think when I was blogging and doing my degree, it was definitely helpful because you weren't just reading the book and not thinking about the experience. You were actually thinking, am I enjoying this? Why am I enjoying this? What is it about this book that's making me enjoy it or not enjoy it? And I think that, I mean, when you study English and when you study books, you have to obviously analyze it and work out what the author was thinking and how that kind of resonates with readers now. and that's what I write in my book reviews too. So yeah, it was kind of perfect actually, because I was already thinking about it anyway, and then doing the blogging just helped it massively.
Yeah, of course. So, obviously, it takes time to get a blog going and running.
Hmm.
What
Hmm.
advice would you give to people that maybe want to start a book blog or aren't quite sure how to start writing a review? Yeah, like what
Hmm.
would you say to those people?
So I would say a few things. Firstly, just engagement is so important. I mean, I think anybody that starts a book blog with the intention of just writing a few things and then not really thinking about it kind of has the wrong end of the stick. The whole point, for me anyway, of book blogging and doing my bookstagram is just chatting to other people. So if if you want to be successful at it and you want to have a lot of people talking about your blog or going on your blog, you just need to do the same with them. Go on other people's book blogs, go on their bookstagrams, talk to them about books, ask them questions, comment on their things, like, all of that. And you could look at it cynically and you could say that's a good business approach, because obviously well, on bookstagram at least, commenting on other people's posts helps your engagement. But also for me, I enjoy that. I think I do that without even thinking about it, and that has good repercussions on everything else. So I do think, firstly, just make sure that you are engaging with other people who want to do the same thing as you or who are doing the same thing as you, because you're going to gain so much from that, and it's so beneficial. Um, and then I think the other thing I would say is that don't worry about the fact it's oversaturated. I think blogging is oversaturated. Everybody knows that. I mean, everybody and your mum wants to be a blogger, everybody. But the point is, if you enjoy it and you want to talk about books and you want to write book reviews, just do it. Just write what you're happy writing in the style you're happy writing. And yeah, just do it because you enjoy it, not for any other reason. And I think it kind of just grows organically from there. Yeah, so I think they would definitely be my two biggest bits of advice.
Yeah, of course, because I said getting started is half the battle on a book blog.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and I think when you're writing your first review, I struggle to write reviews anyway because I don't want to sort of be, go, oh no, I think I'm saying the wrong thing or I'm doing it wrong. But
I don't think
yeah,
you can say the wrong thing. And I mean, I do a lot of reviews for self-published authors, and whenever I write a review, I always praise, no matter, even if I hated the book, I'll find something I liked about it. But equally, even if I think the book was really good, like 5 stars, I'll criticize something, not because I want to criticize, but because it's useful. And so many self-published authors have said to me, thanks for that feedback, that was really useful. And when I write another book, I'm definitely going to take that on board. And I think a lot of authors, well, I mean, I think authors should know not everyone is going to love your book. So I think it's just nice to see other people's opinions, regardless of what that is. And I really don't think you can do it wrong.
yeah, because you're not going to like every single genre of book that's sent your way, are you? And I think
No, exactly.
yeah.
No.
So I think it's just sort of sifting through, kind of going, oh, okay, I like this book, I'll give it a read. So do you
Hmm.
find it hard sometimes to choose what to read?
Um, how do you mean? As in just what to read next, or what to review on my blog?
What to review next?
What to review next? I think I try and mix it up as much as I can. So I think this year I've really been focusing on reading non-fiction, because I hadn't really read much of that, and as a result of that, I found some amazing books over the last kind of 6 months. So I think it not only is it good for my blog because I get a variety of reviews, but then it's also great for me and just my TBR, because I'm getting through loads of books and experiencing new books, which I didn't realize I would enjoy so much. And also, my friend Jazz, who's got a blog called Travels in Fiction, she did a post recently talking about reading books which aren't set in the UK and the US. And recently I've realized that how saturated my bookshelf is with books set in the UK and the US, and actually there's this plethora of books out there that are set all around the world that people just aren't reading. And so I think recently, again, I've been trying to focus on that and trying to think, what can I read that aren't kind of mainstream US UK books, because there are just so many other ones out there that I think I would enjoy. And if you kind of think differently, or take a different approach, rather than just taking any old book off the shelf or taking all the popular books off the shelf, you're gonna find so many books that you kind of never knew existed and that you love. So I think it's definitely good to just not get complacent with it and read what everyone else is reading.
Yeah, of course, because I kind of had this as well. I kind of got into Grant has been brilliant for that. I started getting into some sort of Japanese short
Hmm.
fiction, which
Yeah.
I read the Convenience Store Woman, and that
Okay.
was fantastic. And it's just sort of
Yeah.
reading authors from sort of different parts of the world because you see how
Yeah.
different the
Exactly.
writing styles are. I
Yeah.
mean, Penguin did those £1 sort of
Yeah.
shorts.
The little classic books. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were really good. And I read like some Russian short
Hmm.
stories, and we read
Nice.
some Japanese short stories. And there's like so many ones. If you say, for example, oh, I'm quite interested in reading a book from this part of the world, instead of just like
Hmm.
going in and going, oh my goodness, there's so much. You could start maybe reading something short, or maybe just sort of
Hmm. Yeah.
dip your toe in the water, and then then
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
open the can of worms essentially, and just go like, there's so many, and
Uh-huh. Yeah,
yeah.
no, that's such great advice actually, because that is such a great place to start. And if you don't like it, then that's fine. You don't have to waste your time reading like a 800-page tome about something you don't care about. Yeah, like you say, you can just dip your toes in the water and see if you like it.
Yeah, of course, because I said there's so many books from all over the place, and you're just like, this needs to go on my TBR, this needs to go on my TBR, I want to review this, I want to look at
Yeah.
this. So,
Well, and the other thing I've realised blogging as well is, like I say, because I review a lot of self-published books, you realize that and I've written a couple of posts about this actually, but there's such a stigma with self-published books that people say, oh, they're not going to be as good, or, there's a reason that publishers haven't, gone with them and decided to publish them. But doing that, reviewing people who are self-published, I found some incredible books, and to me, I'm just flabbergasted that they haven't got published. There's one author in particular who I've reviewed called Aaron Kane Hyman, and I've read a book of his and his collection of short stories, and honestly, it's incredible. It's better than so many published books. Like, I've read so many published books that I absolutely loathe, and yet his books, which he's published himself, I think are incredible. And I think that's what I also love about blogging, is that it's given me the opportunity to read all these books, which I never would have done, because they're not in Waterstones. You can't just pick them up in a bookshop. You have to go searching for them, and in doing so, I've ended up reading some fantastic books.
yeah, I mean, I think, would you say that sort of self publishing has opened the door for so many more people to kind of read a different variety of stuff? And
Hmm.
then obviously, the fact because you've got to do all the marketing yourself, it's sort of a bit more like personalized. Would you say that?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think there's pros and cons to it, obviously, because, like you say, anyone can do it, and that does mean there are some books which I've read and I definitely haven't loved, but that's fine. Again, it's kind of the same with blogging. If you want to write a book and you want to publish it, then why not? If you enjoy that, to me, why not? And if you want to put the money and the effort into it, then that's fine. um and again, like you say, with the marketing aspect of it, again, I think Bookstagram is so important for that. Because I mean, my Bookstagram's got about 13,000 followers, and that kind of platform for a self-published author is just like invaluable, because often they don't have that kind of platform. So if I can give them the space to promote their books, that's incredible marketing for them. And I really love that I can do that for them, and that I can share with my followers these self-published books that, again, they wouldn't find otherwise, because they can't just pick them up in a bookshop.
Yeah, and especially as you said, as you're going back to Instagram, it's such a fast-paced
Mhm.
platform compared to other
Mhm.
platforms.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's great. As I said, Instagram, I think is my sort of thing that I just end up scrolling through at the end of the night, and you
Yeah.
spend hours on it.
But you know what? I wrote a post, I think about a year ago now, and it was called "Our Bookstagram Saving the Publishing Industry." And I basically wrote about how there's this thing in marketing. I'm not going to be able to remember it now. I think it's called like the rule of six. And it basically means that if you see something six times, then the seventh time you see it, you're going to buy it. So, for example, if you saw something six times, like you saw a billboard, and then, well, a book on a billboard, and then you saw a book in a bookshop, and then you saw it, I don't know, at a bus stop being advertised, and then you go home and you scroll through your phone, and the seventh time you see it is on Instagram, that could be the time you're like, right, I'm going to buy that book because I've seen it enough times. And it's something you do subconsciously. And to me, though, all those seven times can easily happen on Bookstagram. I mean, there are so many occasions. For example, just the first one off my head, Daisy Jones and the Six, that book, Taylor Jenkins Reid, she did a fantastic job, in my opinion, or whoever published it did a fantastic job, because that book was just everywhere on Bookstagram, to the point where did it for the book club that Amy and I used to have. We chose it as one of our selections, and I would not have read it because I looked at the book cover and I mean judgmentally thought I don't want to read that. Read the blurb and thought, that's not something I'd enjoy. But because we'd seen it everywhere, we knew that other people loved it, so we thought we'll give it a go. And that's one of the best books I've read this year. So I just love that kind of platform can be a space where you can find all these books.
Yeah, of course. I think for me, mine was the Flatshare by Beth O'Leary because the marketing for that was really good as well.
Oh yes, oh god, that's everywhere. Yeah, that was everywhere.
Yeah, of course. And I think I remember when I went up to London when it first came out and it was all across the tube. And then I came back
Mhm.
home to Devon. I was like, I'm going to go and buy it. So as soon as I saw it, I
Yeah.
was like, everyone's talking about this, so I have to go and get it. And I loved it.
Mhm.
So obviously
Mhm.
it does work, and you realise how subliminal sometimes marketing can be. Like subconsciously, you're
Exactly.
thinking it is all just your mind, isn't it? Going, yeah, this is it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that need to get. It's clever, so clever how this kind of stuff works.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Agreed.
awesome.
And interestingly as well, you know the book Normal People by Sally Rooney. That
Yes.
it won the I think it won the Waterstones Book of the Year. Again, that was one of those books that was everywhere, and I eventually ended up reading it because I saw it everywhere and I absolutely hated it. But then at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether I loved it or I hate it, I still bought it. And that's the point. Like that's the power of Instagram, to be honest, as a marketing platform.
Yeah, of course. So finally, what is a book that you've read recently that you would like to recommend?
Oh, this is hard. I when I knew you'd be asking me this question, I struggled. To be honest, recently, if I'm being totally honest, I haven't read anything mind blowing. I think when you read as much as I do and as much as anybody who blogs or who does Bookstagram, you do end up going through phases of reading things which are fine and they're okay. So I want to kind of be cheeky, and I haven't read it recently. I read it at the end of last year, but I really just love this book so much that I want to get as many people to read it as possible, and that is A Little Life. I'm sure you've heard of it. I'm sure everybody has heard of it. It's 750 pages, so I think some people can definitely be intimidated because it's so long. And not only that, the font is absolutely tiny. So don't get me wrong, when I read it, it took me a good kind of month, 6 weeks to get through it. But it has changed the way I read. Hanya Yanghinara, I think that's how you say her name. She is just an incredible author, and that book just broke me. I would recommend it to anybody, even if you don't read much or you don't like reading long books. I just think give it a go because it's haunting and it's beautiful and it's just brilliant. And I honestly just every time I talk about it, I almost get emotional because it's so brilliant. So yeah, slightly cheating because I haven't read it recently, but I would definitely recommend that.
That's great. Well, as I said, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate
No
it.
problem.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having me.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
That's it for this week's episode. Thanks for listening. You can follow Amy on Twitter at Amy Rose Buckle. You can get in touch through Twitter at novelm16 and use the hashtag slothcast, or you can send me an email at slumberslothbooknook@gmail.com. You can always find our podcast on our YouTube channel, Slumber Sloth Book Nook, or you can download from Podbean and Apple Podcasts for an on-the-go experience. See you next week. Bye!